today I wanted to talk about how you can improve your credit score in 10 ways. So the first thing you can do that's really important is to ensure you make regular payments. That sounds so simple, but honestly, I think it's the one thing that's really helped my credit score over time. Number 2 then is to prove where you live. Now this again sounds very simple, but it will massively help your credit score. So the one way to do this in the UK anyway is to register to vote if you're able to. And it shows, hey, on your credit score that they have your address, that you're voting, and you're contributing to society, and they know that the address that you live at. And that's a very simple way to be able to improve your credit score. Number 3 is build your credit history. Now, this might be a little bit difficult if this is your very first credit card, but if you follow these tips, which is what I've done, it will actually help build up your credit quite quickly. So if you're brand new to credit cards, what I used to do, and I still do it actually, is I pay with a credit card in any kind of grocery place. So if I'm spending £50 on groceries that week, I will often use my credit card and then pay it back immediately. And if you do that every week, if you use your credit every week in things that you use anyway, that you know you can pay back immediately, this is a really good and easy way to build up your credit score. So number 4 was one that I only found out about literally maybe 2 months ago. And then I did this one thing and it jumped up to 999, which is the highest score you can get. So this one is one that can be switched on quite quickly. I found in my case within 2 weeks it had jumped my score, to be honest. So what it is to keep your credit utilization low. So what that means is everyone who has a credit card has a credit limit. So for example, you might have £1,000 of a credit limit. For example, if you use £500 of that, you've used 50%. So it's a 50% credit utilization. Now what they say is, and what I took into account for my own credit score, is to really try and keep that below 30%. So if we go back to that example, if you would have £1,000 of a credit limit, if you use maximum £300 credit, and then obviously pay it back within, good time that you're meant to pay it back in, this will actually improve your credit score. And the good thing with credit is the longer you're with, the same bank, or that you've shown that you're reliable with credit, you can actually improve your credit limit as well. So I originally, when I first started, I know I had £1,000 credit limit, and then it went up to 2,000 credit limit, and then it went up to 3,000 credit limit. And I think I can go even higher now if I want to, but it just shows to the bank, hey, if you're good at paying back your credit every month and you're reliable, we will give you a bigger bandwidth. And the good thing with that is, the higher your credit limit is, the bigger amount of money that 30% is. Tip number 5 is to monitor any weird fraudulent activity. So this is why it's quite good to check your credit report where you can, which is totally free to do, by the way. I use Experian. There's lots of different ones that you can use in the UK and the US. But yes, if you notice any weird fraudulent activity, like someone has bought Nike shoes on your credit card that you don't remember buying, it's really important to call the bank and to report this fraudulent activity, because if that doesn't get paid back, you're the one to blame, and the banks will blame you if there's an outstanding bill. And number 6 kind of goes alongside this. So this is check on any errors that you might have. So for example, even a mistype address when you're doing a credit check can actually affect your credit score. I know it actually happened to my brother, unfortunately, when he was applying for a mortgage. When they were doing a credit check, they mistyped the address several times when doing this credit check, and it actually dropped his credit score. And this also goes for maybe you're unfortunately in hospital and you missed a bill by mistake, or maybe you've lost your job, so it's quite an unusual circumstance. Even things like this, they can be very lenient with this, and they can make notes of what has happened with these, unusual circumstances. And that will help improve your credit score, as long as it's justifiable and it's explainable as to maybe why you've missed a bill. So number 7 is avoid moving address if possible. Now, obviously, some people like to move around every year and everything like that, and it's part of their lifestyle. So weirdly, this actually does affect your credit, because if you're constantly moving, it may show to the bank that, hey, maybe you can't pay your rent and that's why you have to move constantly. So it's just another indicator that, hey, maybe this person isn't reliable, or maybe if we were to give them a loan, maybe we can't trust them as much. even if that's not the truth. Maybe you just like to have a different scenery every year and that's why you move so much. But I guess it's really important just to be aware of that, especially maybe if you're in the lead up to hoping to get a mortgage soon. Maybe don't be moving loads on the lead up. That will affect your credit score. So tip number 8 is to maybe have a credit card for a long time. If you've got a long history of credit or a long, bank account with the same bank for years and years and years, it again shows reliability, and that's what the banks are after. So in my case, when I moved to London about 10 years ago from Ireland, I have the same bank account since when I started. I haven't changed at all. My main current account and my main credit card have been with the same bank for the last 10 years. So I think that's actually been a big win for me as to why my credit score is so good. So tip number 9 is you can actually get an instant credit boost if you link your current account to your Experian account, for example. Now I use Experian, you guys might use something else, but what this shows is if it's linked to your current account, again, it just takes this data of, hey, you pay your Netflix every month on time, you pay your water bill a month every time. And it just shows, again, it's another pool of data to say, hey, this person's actually very responsible with money, very responsible with paying their bills. And it's like another little boost to show to the lenders, like, this person's a good person with money. Tip number 10 is a really personal one. This is one that I've been almost paranoid about, which is why I think my credit score has been so good. So this is when you leave a property. So when you do happen to move, from apartment to apartment, is to make sure you wrap up every bill that's in your name in the previous place, regardless if it's on a credit card or your current account. If anything is in your name, like a water bill, an electricity bill, and maybe you've moved and maybe you missed the very last bill, that can affect you because it's like a little red mark on, your account to say, hey, this person didn't pay this bill. So even if you really didn't mean to, or you weren't even aware that there was an outstanding bill, just really try and, call the water company just to make sure that everything is paid and that account is closed, so nothing is in your name outstanding. And then in terms of debt, that is a whole other story altogether. If you're buying things that you can't afford, please don't buy them. If you're spending £2,000 on, a TV with speakers, or you're spending £20,000 on a car loan, just be very cautious. Like, can you afford this? It's really important to look at your income, your expenditure, and do a little budget, and then see if you can actually afford these things, because credit cards are not free money. You do have to pay them back at some point. If you have any questions on any of that, just drop it down below and I'd be happy to answer. And I'll see you next week for my next video. Thanks all, bye!